Peace and blessings, everybody. It's your favorite everything, JR Wisdom. And today I'm being joined by this wonderful, talented group of young ladies. And we're going to be discussing a very controversial topic that's been all over the media. Every time you turn on social media, it's what you're seeing. And it's being brought to life in their film, Clinic. Now, Clinic is about a single mother that succumbs to society's pressures and ends up having a procedure done that ends up going left despite the advice of her doctor. Today, I'm being joined by the director, the producer, and the lead actress of the film Clinic. So without further ado, I'm gonna have you ladies introduce yourself, starting with our lovely director here.
Alicia Kowser Jackson. I am the director and co-writer of Clinic.
Awesome. And how about the lead actress here?
Candace Marie Singleton, and I played Lisa, the lead actress.
Shout out to Lisa.
Yes. And I am Shauna Brown, producer and executive producer of Clinic.
Awesome, awesome. Nice to meet you ladies today, and I'm glad that we're having this discussion because this is something that, as we see on, if you guys have been following it, it's always something that's appearing in social media, and it's one of those things where a lot of young ladies and older women are opting to have this procedure done despite the mortality rate of this procedure. So we're going to jump right into it. Alicia, what was the motivation behind doing this film?
Motivation behind doing this film, with all of our films, intentionality. We say, okay, right now, what is a topic that we need to speak on? And we look and see what's happening, what's going on, what's the issues, what are the things that are happening in the world that are hitting home for our generation, that are hitting home for our audience, that are hitting home for maybe the people that we want to reach. And at the time, and even now, there's just been this big epidemic of just the lack of self-love and the need to transform body in order to feel accepted. We wanted to tackle that. We wanted to start and or curate a productive conversation around that.
What, with filmmaking, and I know you have a few films under your belt, what makes this one different from the others? I know that this is a thriller for sure, but what makes this one different from the others?
I think this one is more targeted towards a specific, all of them are targeted towards a specific issue, but this is targeted more so specifically for this generation, the social media generation, the generation that gets all of their trends from the media, from social media, that kind of follows along the train of what everyone else is doing.
What are your thoughts on that, Shauna?
It's very similar in terms of the generation that is meant for, very impressionable, looking to, unfortunately, oftentimes to please others. Sometimes it could be a lack of self-confidence. Sometimes it's being almost persuaded by what things appear to be. And yeah, so I think that it was very intentional with that in mind.
So I get that intentionality in terms of that. So Candace, how did you hear about this film, first of all?
So Alicia or the team hit up my agent, but prior to that I already worked with them, so there was already a relationship. But yeah, I got the audition from my agent. And
what did you see when you read the script? What did you think about it when you read the script?
I loved it because it's very timely. This generation, I feel like back in the day there was little tweaks people did here and there, but you see now even more than ever, there's just so many people doing really dangerous procedures. And even though there's widespread knowledge of these procedures having a mortality rate and things like that, people want to look.
Right.
There's social media now, so it's, even though, okay, I know this could kill me, you scroll down your timeline, oh, but I can have a booty and I can get a bunch of likes and I could do these things. So yeah,
instant gratification, if you will. Now, with that being said, you co-wrote this, right, Alicia?
Yes.
So what was your thought process when you were actually penning this down? Did you have any personal inspirations as far as this?
Personal inspirations, no. When it comes to plastic surgery, or me particularly or anyone in my circle, we're not really big on plastic surgery. However, and it's not to knock it. It's just to say that my group is not. However, as we're writing, again, in addition, it's a tough thing, right? Because as we're writing, we're also trying to check the boxes of what our agents need. We're also trying to check the boxes of what the networks are asking for. So writing, it was the great thing about having 3 writers. We put the concepts down, but then you toss it around. And Mel, actually, when Mel goes through things and when Mel writes on things, he always goes and does a polish where it's, okay, now that we have the formalities done, let's tap into what exactly we're trying to do. It was a layered process as writing, even writing it. It's okay, meeting their boxes, meeting our boxes. How do we make this captivating without making it offensive, without making it too graphic, but also making it entertaining? It was all of those thoughts simultaneously.
Now, did any of you get any feedback in terms of people being offended by this? And I know we're going to get into something here later, but was there any feedback in terms of this character that you were playing, or anyone saying from the audience response, hey, this is offensive, you're picking at certain folks?
Not from this particular movie yet. Let me say this, there's always somebody offended.
Right.
And in our experience with our other films, especially with controversial topics, someone is always offended. And sometimes it's not that we aim to please everyone, because that's a myth. That's never going to happen. But if we hear certain things the same over and over, we take it to mind like, okay, maybe we didn't think about that. Maybe that's something for us to consider. So for this film, as it pertains to just people personally being offended, we haven't had that yet.
Right.
I'm sure it's coming.
Right. There have been some things voiced in opinion, but I will say that's also the importance of being solid on your why, your reason for making it, opposed to just making it, for money or for fame or what have you. Like and I know where it may appear as if there's an overuse of the word intentional, but your why is everything, especially when there's a positive message. And I'm not trying to rush to the end of the movie, but there's a strong message in the end. And so it's so much more than obviously just a thriller. There are so many different layers and elements. A lot of love in it.
Right.
And so, yeah, that definitely makes a difference.
Gotcha. How about you, Candace? Have you heard of any feedback in terms of people being offended?
No. I think there's still a lot of people that need to see the film, as far as like people that I know.
Right.
But as of right now, no. People have liked the film.
I agree. There's a lot of people that still need to see the film.
And they will. Body dysmorphic disorder. I heard, seen in media and things like that. I didn't know the actual term in terms of this disorder, because I've always heard of body dysmorphia and things of that nature. With Lisa, because I know it was mentioned by her boyfriend in the film, do you feel like that was something that she really suffered from, or was it just like...
It was something that we wanted to introduce as a possibility.
Right.
Because a lot of times, for those who do take the time to dissect their why, or everyone else's, why am I getting this? Am I getting this because it's going to affect the quality of my life, or because I want to look a certain way?
Right.
A lot of times, people don't dig deeper to say, okay, is there something else as to why I want to alter so frequently, or why I feel the need to do it in order to validate myself? So we wanted to introduce that this is something that Lisa could be potentially. It's not always insecurity. It's not always the man saying, "Oh, you're ugly. You need to get this done." When it's not always the woman like, "I hate myself." Sometimes there are psychological things, there are mental things that are a lot deeper. So we definitely want to introduce that it could be a possibility that Lisa could be suffering from that.
What did you, as playing Lisa, how did you see it, Candace, in terms of?
At first, I think it's very easy to look at the superficial level. Like, okay, she's a stripper.
Right.
She wants the big booty and to get more money. But then as we continue with the film, we see that she talks about how she was made fun of.
Yes.
As a child. So it's like Alicia said, it's what's the intention behind it? You say, okay, in the strip club, it's because I want a bigger booty to get more money, but really it's that wound, or it's that void that you're trying to fill from being made fun of when you were little and things like that.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. I was going to add, there are things sometimes that trigger. In the case of Lisa, that was something that occurred years ago.
Yes.
When she was younger. But obviously it's actually stuck with her. Even if it was like deep down inside, there was something that made that come to surface. And she actually decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead with this procedure, knowing the risks and everything that are involved. Being a mom, having a young son, having a beautiful boyfriend that obviously loved her, was there to support whatever her decision ultimately was. However, did his due diligence just to make sure that he shared everything and his concerns, just in case it's something that she wasn't considering. But definitely, bullying is known, and we just call it what it is. Bullying is known to trigger things like that, even later on in life. So,
Absolutely. And I know coming from, I'm not a patron of strip clubs. I've maybe been a couple times in my life. So this being Atlanta, this is Atlanta has some of the most popular strip clubs in the world.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm no patron of strip clubs. I've been to strip clubs in the past, but to my understanding, it's almost mandatory for some women, if they want to make some serious money, that they need to have this procedure done or some type of augmentation done. Is this something that you maybe seen or heard of in terms of that? I know with you doing your research on the film and things like that.
I definitely know that one of the motivations was
Right.
that pressure from society. But like you said, Atlanta is a strip culture, but it's not just strippers. It's the average woman. I think that the strip culture, because it is a money-making culture, because it is a money where you might rack up $500,
For sure.
$2,000 a night, it seems appealing. A lot of times when it comes to making more money, if I can do this to make more money, or if I can enhance my body to get more attention, then for a lot of people right now, that's worth it. We live in a generation where you seek literally validation from people who know nothing
For sure.
about you every day from a phone. So get alone the people in your community, the people in your culture that is saying, oh my gosh, big booty, big titty. That's the norm. That is what is accepted. That is what culturally is being promoted as it pertains to music, as it pertains to media, and definitely glorified amongst careers like stripping, where you can take that money, put it in your body, and make more money.
What do you think about
literally.
this?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the exact question was.
About to get racked up in these, to make a lot of money in this profession, and specifically being a stripper.
Gotcha.
Is this
Gotcha.
something that is like almost mandatory that you?
Yeah, and that's, to me, it's unfortunate, but it doesn't surprise me. That's not something that I heard or came across in any type of research. But it's a competitive. It's almost like they're choosing to be in competition with one another. And so, with that comes the succumbing to peer pressure as well too. And I think it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Candace? Because I know you were obviously in that area, and you probably came across, and I know you probably did your research for the role as well with this.
I hadn't heard that. I'm from Miami.
Okay. There's another one, yeah.
Yeah, but I know in Miami, it seems like there's a different flavor for, I guess, what you want. Like, I know some of the clubs, they have the big booty girls, and then some of the clubs, they have the petite Hispanic white girls, even some black girls. It just depends, I guess, on your demographic.
Right.
But I did hear of an interview where Cardi B was talking about how when she first started, her body was regular, and then she saw the other strippers making money, and then she was like, no, I gotta get my butt done. That's a thing, for sure.
Now, this getting into what Lisa, she went to see a physician on her consultation, right? And obviously this is in the synopsis of it, so I'm not telling too much of the movie. But she went to see a physician, and against this physician's guidance or whatever, she opted to still get this procedure done. What is it, do you think, and I know we were addressing this overall, about that risk versus reward that something that has a procedure that has such a high mortality rate would make you want to risk your life to have, because we've seen botched surgeries, people losing their lives, limbs, things like that. Where and I know we're not psychologists, but what is it that you think would have someone say, I'm going to take this risk. I don't care if I die from this. Like, this needs to happen.
I think it's the lack of trust that we have in our system. We live in a system that'll tell you, hey, you can eat this, it's good for you, or don't eat this, it's bad for you. It's just that try to dictate our buying habits, our spending habits. So because of that, it's a lot of times they're like, oh, this is expired. No, it's not expired. You can do that. We don't have faith in our system. We don't have faith that that the system is transparent with us and that it has our interest in mind. I think we're used to bucking the system, especially just this generation where the simplest things is, okay, I don't trust that. Let me do my own research. So I think our distrust in the system has put us in that position.
Yeah, I think also we're risk takers, this generation. Life is short. Why not? That immediate gratification.
Right.
I think that has a lot to do with it as well. Yeah, they're just, and then it's one of those things where I think the general thought is it's not going to happen to me.
It's not going to happen to me.
It's not going to happen to me.
And then there are always workarounds. Oh my gosh, this eye doctor charged you $10,000?
Yes.
Oh no, I know somebody who did it for $2,500. And blah, blah. So we're also the generation of connections.
Right. Hook up.
Yeah, anything that you can buy, you could probably get it cheaper somewhere else. Or anything that's out here, or any type of procedure that you want to have done, there's somebody else who'll do it. Now, sometimes you'll find a person that can really, really do it. And sometimes that's not the case. I think it's also the plethora of options that we have out here when it comes to discounted and alternative services, alternative products.
And then you can actually see when you scroll or like on TV, okay, this person did it. It worked for them.
Yeah.
Right.
When you see so many success stories, it's a no-brainer. It's, that wouldn't happen to me. Or anything bad wouldn't happen to me, because look at this person. This person did it. This person got butt shots. I'm actually going to a physician to get mine done. So if they survived, I should be fine.
And with all these things, you hear a lot of these celebrities and other people saying that they don't even know what they're pushing inside of them. Could be fix-a-flat, cement, all types of stuff. And you've had different characters, if you will, that have been performing these surgeries and getting arrested and being sentenced. That leads me to, based off of this, I know the trailer we were talking about, it has gone viral on TikTok, or been getting a lot of views on TikTok, the clips. And I understand that there has been some scrutiny based upon these trailers and the clips on TikTok. And this brings about what we discussed before about DC Young Fly's, his children's mother, Jackie O, rest in peace, who recently passed away from a procedure. You were facing scrutiny on TikTok in reference to this from people saying that you must have made this because of this situation, even though, because there's several other movies like Tubi movies and other Amazon movies about Meg Thee Stallion getting shot, and I forgot the young lady who got beat up by her friends or whatever.
Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico.
Shanquella, right.
Yeah. Can we clear the air on that, about this whole situation with the clinic movie and the Jackie O situation?
Yes. For those who, a lot of people comment, you guys made this about Jackie O, how insensitive. This is in no way, in any form or fashion, targeted or created with Jackie O in mind. We actually shot this movie in 2022. Right. It took a minute for it to come out, but this movie was created directly as a response to what's happening in this generation and the social media trends that we see, and the things that we see are the things that we see that are affecting the generation. That's the heaviest and that we want to discuss. But Jackie O was not in mind, and at the time that we created this movie, the Jackie O situation did not exist. So no, this movie is in no way a response to Jackie O.
Thank you for clearing that up, Alicia. Because I know that's something that people who may be watching this may try to put those or link those two together.
Yes.
So going on, when we're balancing, because this was obviously triggering some people, you being a filmmaker and you producing the movie and being in filmmaking as well, how do you balance whether sometimes you may try to trigger someone or not try to trigger someone, getting your message across and entertaining at the same time? How do you balance that? Or can you balance it?
I don't even know if we know the answer to that. What I can say is that what we try to do is we try to create characters that someone can look, relatable characters, where individuals can look at and say, you know what? I've been there. I can relate to that.
Right.
I can relate to that feeling. Or I know someone who's been through that. We try to create topics and do research that's going to generate a realistic look, that's going to generate a realistic scenario and situation. In addition to, like I said earlier, trying to find the boxes that we have to check for our agents and for the network. And I don't know that we've arrived there. I don't know that we ever will. I think filmmaking is another part of our human evolution in which you're never going to arrive. You just continue to.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. It's a marathon. And so I think just continuing to try to be more intentional is the best way that we, being mindful of, are we spitting facts? Have we done our research? Have we connected with individuals who've been through this situation? And are we also meeting the demand of, because it is a business, are we meeting the demand of what the industry is expecting?
Right.
Yeah.
Sharna?
I agree with everything Alicia shared. I also would like to add that we do, I believe, a really good job with just within our writer's room, checking in, okay, what is the message? What do we want our audience to walk away with? Just that reminder. We know typically what the message is that we want their takeaway to be, and we just circle back to that at times. Does it say that? Is that the message? Is this going to get us to that place? Yes, we're right on target. Sounds good. Let's keep it going. Or maybe not. Maybe we need to communicate this, but in a different way.
And we also have a checks and balances. Our team is not consisting of one person and one person's mindset or ideas. Our team is consistent upon a diverse group of different age generations, different backgrounds, different lifestyles. So we also try to make sure we have diversity within our team, that we're not telling a perspective or serving anything to our audience that is just one-minded.
Yep. And then we don't just go from writer's room to distribution. We even have a group of individuals to read that we don't even know them. You know what I mean? So there's no biased opinions.
Script doctors.
Yeah. So extra steps to.
Said.
Yeah.
Candace, do you think that BBLs and plastic surgery is becoming the new norm, or is being normalized now to the point where nobody's like really thinking anything of it?
Yes, but I also feel like the society or the world goes through cycles. So back in the day, I think petite was in.
Yes.
And then now with the social media culture, it's like BBL everywhere. And then I think slowly but surely it's getting back to, especially with different celebrities coming out with their horror stories and things like that. I think it's slowly but surely trying to get back to being natural, with people getting stuff removed and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely been normalized. You can walk down the street and see it. So.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Sharna?
I think, unfortunately, it has become normalized, and I want to believe that there is going to be a growing trend of getting back to self-love, to loving what you have naturally. There are things that we can do to enhance without surgeries or taking the risk or working out or whatever the case may be, but just a greater appreciation and gratitude for what we have and our differences, embracing them, opposed to what to me has become a stage where everybody looks alike.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
from like hair to nose to body shape, or they desire to look like this particular celebrity. You don't know what that celebrity is going through, or psychologically, or what have you. But yeah, just getting back to self and centered in self-love.
And that's what I, just to piggyback off what you said, that's what I liked about Lisa's boyfriend, because I believe he affirmed her before. He was like, hey, I know he had a joke in there at one point,
Right.
which you guys will see that in the movie, but that was one thing about him. He affirmed his girlfriend and was like, hey, you don't, I like you like this or whatever. There's other alternatives, as you said. What do you think about that, though, Alicia?
I think definitely BBLs are trendy. Anything, unfortunately, that a celebrity or an influencer now will put their name behind, will endorse, will say, hey, I'm going to get this done, it immediately becomes trendy, which is why, as quote-unquote influencers and or celebrities, it's important to understand the responsibility that you have. It's much is given, much is required.
Right.
So the given part is, hey, you have a platform. You get to have opportunities that the average person may not be able to take advantage of. And the responsibility of that is, maybe let me be mindful of what it is that I'm projecting, because if I project this and I have a certain platform, it's going to become a trend, because this generation is seeking to follow the next thing.
I think, and I saw, I forgot, someone said it on social media the other day, that the BBL is going to get played out here soon.
Everything will get played out eventually.
It's going to get played out with
Cycles.
this.
But what will happen is, even if the BBLs get played out, if the root of the issue, the self-love, if understanding who you are, what you're going for, and not being moved because someone did this or that, so even if the BBL goes out, there's going to be another trend
Yeah,
that's
it's
going
gonna
to
be
be
something else.
harmful, potentially deadly, not necessarily nurturing to your mind or your body or your spirit, that people are going to hop all on the bandwagon. That's going to be just as detrimental, unfortunately.
For sure.
Yeah.
So in this film, we covered a lot of issues, or you guys cover a lot of issues in this film. What are some of your favorite moments in this film? Sharna, we'll start with
For
you.
me, there's not a particular scene, so to speak, but there's, and that feeling for me, I'm always rooting for love.
Right.
From the examples are that you spoke of with Malcolm, his love for Lisa, wanting her to be protected and knowledgeable, and just double thinking things over. For the detective, his love for his mom, he does something that's so dangerous,
Right.
where obviously you can lose your life just stepping out of your front door. However, within his home, you never would have guessed it, but he was caring for his mom, her actual caretaker. And so those human layers of it, and it's a very layered movie. Those are the things that kind of warm my heart when I think about it. Those relatable moments for all.
Gotcha.
So that didn't really answer your question, but
No, it does. Candace, I was about to call you Lisa. You know what made me think of that?
Long back, Lisa!
When they had Play from Kid and Play, when they were interviewing him, because he was married to Lisa McDowell from Coming to America, so they were calling her Lisa. So when Charlemagne and them was interviewing him, they were calling her Lisa so much, he ended up calling her Lisa. He was like, "Yeah, Lisa." He's like, "Man, y'all got me calling." This is his ex-wife.
that is funny.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's what made me think about that. But anyway, Candace, how about you? What was one of your favorite movie, or your favorite moment in the movie?
I really enjoyed a lot of the physical parts. There was, I think, one part in particular when it was me and Shavanya, the doctor,
yeah.
and it didn't really make the final cut, but there was like a whole choreographed part in I forgot.
Was it?
One of the rooms.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was fun, and it looked great, but we lost the footage. It was one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a hard drive issue. Yes.
Oh, I was
Yes.
wondering. I was like that was fun.
Oh, trust me, I was heartbroken over that for 2 months. Like I hated everybody for 2 months because it really was coordinated.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
so fun. Yeah, I would say a lot of the physical.
Part 2. No, just
No, yeah, a lot of the physical parts of the movie, filming that was a lot of fun. What else? I would say that. And I just to piggyback off of you too, it's really great to see the love in the film. I think because when I initially read the script, Malcolm's part wasn't so pivotal. And then I think as production went along, his parts grew. And I think it was genius to make him actually like care and be like the voice of reason for her. So yeah, I think the parts with, or the scenes with Alex, who is Malcolm, were really great to film too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Alicia?
I think my favorite parts in the movie were, I think, the relatable parts. I say that when I say relatable parts, the parts that people look at and laugh at or connect to. And definitely a lot of Malcolm and Lisa. Because essentially when we think about relationships, especially when we think about black men are often demonized. A lot of times when girls, when people do dissect, oh, why are they getting this fight? Oh, her man must be telling her she ugly. Her man must have told her to do this. And so I love the fact that Malcolm and Lisa share such a romantic bond. I love the fact that Malcolm is, in a sense, her hero. He is a person who loved her, who encouraged her for who she was, where she was, and it had nothing to do with how she looked. So I think that element is my favorite part of the movie.
Very well said. True love. So how important, because this makes me think, because I have daughters, right? How important or how effective is it, especially as black women, here I'm talking to 3 black women, how important is it for, let's just say, a male or the man, the love of your life, your boyfriend, significant other, or even your father to affirm you or basically instill these things, that self-love? How important is that, and could that ultimately make a change?
It's extremely
I
important.
think so. Yeah.
It's extremely important because I think your household is the root from what it's where you learn how to add. It's where you learn how to make up your bed. It's where you learn how to drive.
Right.
The foundational elements of who you are as a human being come from your household. It starts at home. And so absolutely it's important to have that information. Also, when you have it from people, when you get the validation that, because every human being needs a form of it, when you get it from people that you love, that love you, you don't seek it you don't seek it from people who could care less about you. You don't have to do reckless or senseless things to try to get attention and say, look at me, because you are seen.
Right.
You are heard. But when you don't feel heard or seen, now you're more prone to go get that attention, go get heard or seen in other ways that may not be productive to your life.
Indeed.
Definitely agree with that. Your home is the foundation of, in my opinion, where you learn what love looks like. What does love feel like? You know what I mean? So it sets the standard for you moving forward. And I know you reference boyfriends, husbands, and so forth. So you're talking about different phases of life. And so if that foundation that's set at home, when you're young, right? It can start as early as being a toddler. Toddlers are they're like sponges, and much more intelligent than sometimes we believe, but paying attention to every little thing. So whether it's even observing the interaction between mom and dad, that love, then the interaction between dad and daughter. And then as she becomes, there's a certain expectation or standard. And she will know exactly what it looks like and feels. And so I think that's a great question and absolutely important.
Candace?
I agree with both of them.
Yeah.
No, but it definitely starts at home. And I also believe that the way that people love you informs how you love yourself. Because there are times in life where you might not have a significant other. You might not have somebody there. So it's like when you don't really have anybody per se, sometimes you have to look to yourself. So yeah, I think that's the foundation, and it's important because regardless, it informs how you love yourself.
So I know as a father, and I believe I can speak for other fathers who are present in their daughters' lives. That's the one thing, and I'm not trying to make it seem like it's directly related to this movie, but the one thing you'll hear men say, my goal is to keep my daughter off that pole. You know what I'm saying? in front of a camera. You know what I'm saying? I don't want her in front of a camera, and I don't want her on that pole. I think that personally, I think that as men, fathers, and significant others, boyfriends, husbands, whatever have you, I think that's very instrumental in just having a good relationship with your daughters and or significant other, is to affirm them in those aspects, because you said it perfectly. You go seeking it from someone else, and this may lead to those things that may ultimately lead to your demise. By going that route for something that like this that has such a high mortality rate. But
it's true, but I also think part of also of the job of a parent and or guardian and or spouse is also to emphasize how important it is to also find that within yourself. To not always, whether it is your parent, whether it is your sibling or your spouse, you shouldn't have to seek that all the time. There should be something inside of you that you could find that beauty in yourself, that you could find the things that you were created and say, wow, I love this about myself, or I love this element of me, or wow, I look cute today. I think also pouring into your child or your family member or your friend, your loved one, to say, you know what, also make sure you love yourself. Make sure you're digging deep. And if you don't, it's okay, because you go in and out of seasons of loving yourself.
Indeed.
Figure out what it is that you need to do to love yourself.
Yeah, I think the key is being whole. It happens, like you said, you go through different seasons. There's a big difference between knowing that you are whole as one and loving yourself foundationally, and then also someone who's, we can have a broken spirit temporarily here and there, but just knowing that's temporary and that you don't need anything outside of you to change it or improve it. Everything that we need is, we're born with it.
you're born with it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's already within. Circles back to self-love.
For sure. So what would, for each one of y'all, what would be the main takeaway for people who may be watching this, who will be watching this film? What's the main takeaway you want them to have once they watch it?
One of the main takeaways that I think that I would like for a person to have is just to reanalyze, okay, aside from the self-love conversation, are there words or things or actions that I give off that could make someone else not feel great about themselves? To be mindful of our actions and how we talk to people, how we treat people, how we perceive them. If you see someone, sis, you look great. You look amazing, sir. You're so handsome. It's okay to compliment each other, to be there for each other, to pour into each other. Our words do hurt. Sticks and stones, words do hurt. That little whole thing, that's false. Words hurt, and words not only do they hurt, but they affect, they pierce, they affect people's actions, their reactions, how they live their lives at times. So I think I would love for people to walk away and say, you know what? I want to be more mindful of what I say and how I treat people.
Candace?
I would say really think about the reason why you do things. Like, just be intentional. Think about, okay, because everything, like I said, is not superficial. There's a lot of times a deeper reason. You think, oh, I'm doing this because of this, and it's, no, if you really dig deeper. And then also allow your triggers to teach you things. Allow your triggers to, a lot of times people get triggered and they want to get upset or get angry or block it. And it's, no, allow that to bring you to your healing. I think that's the biggest thing. Lisa clearly got triggered and she went through a whole journey. But I think the beautiful thing about it is that she, with the help of Malcolm, allowed that to really heal her and seek out help and things like that.
I completely agree. You got to feel it to heal it. That's one thing that I think people seek vices to avoid that. And that could be surgery, tattoos, drugs, or whatever, just to avoid that, because some people just don't want to come to that you have to if you want to ultimately heal it. You got to feel it.
You do.
So how about you, Sharna? What do you
That's
think?
for sure.
What do you want them to take away from this?
Let's see. I would say the takeaway that I would want the audience to have would be knowing, for one, that perfection doesn't exist, right? So following someone else's standard of what beauty is, be aware of that and pause and be real with yourself. Like what you were saying, getting down to the core of, okay, what's the real reason that I'm doing this? And probably 8 times out of 10, you will uncover, if you're being honest with yourself, that it may be for an artificial reason, or because of something that I'm following, opposed to it solely coming from you. And just loving yourself. Forgiveness, for giving yourself grace for making decisions or choices that may not be in your best interest. And just getting back to love, to self-love. And I think we all should know what that feels like, and that when it's not the case. So I think those things are what I would want the audience to walk away with.
I try to champion women as far as I understand. If you want to, seek those routes, if you want to get plastic surgery, if you want to get your lashes done, if you want to wear your hair a certain way, but I take every opportunity personally to champion women who do decide to be natural, just to say, hey. And I think what you said, as far as, hey, some people are prideful, and I know some women look at other women as being catty sometimes, or just think that I don't want to give another woman a compliment because of, even though you may like something on her, or vice versa, but not vice versa, but you may like something on her, but pride may stop you from letting her know that. But sometimes it's just, I think that's an expression of yourself, that, and how far you have grown, whether it be spiritually or on this journey you're on, to be able to tell someone that.
And I think that's also a part of self-love.
For sure,
Because if
absolutely.
you truly love yourself, there's no intimidation or any type of reservation to show love to another person. It brings you joy.
Absolutely.
And I just want to add one more thing, not to give away the movie, but it's also important to talk to somebody, to have that, whether that trusted individual, that safe space, or whether it's a therapist, to talk to someone when you run into situations where life becomes a challenge. And I think that we all experience that in our lifetimes. It's not meant for you to have to figure out alone or get stuck or what have you. Talk to someone.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Future projects. I'm interested to hear, after the audience sees this film here, what future projects do you guys have on the horizon? Do you ladies have on the horizon? Excuse me.
That's subject to change because we just got out of a strike.
Yeah.
So any type of roster or situation that we might have had particularly lined up, things have shifted. We've pivoted a bit. What we can say is that whatever project comes out, it's still going to be all-encompassing of who we are. There's going to be some topic that we are going to lean into, even if we try to make it entertaining, even if we try to make it relatable. Our goal, whatever our next project is definitely going to be an intentional project.
Intentional is the word. Candace, you have any upcoming projects that you like to let the audience know about?
Same with the strike situation. I do have a couple of independent films that are coming out. And I myself want to start writing, directing, producing. So
Okay, all right.
Yes. I'm so inspired by these two ladies right here. So yeah, I think that's the next journey of my life. I'm still, of course, acting and doing things like that, but I definitely want to go behind the scenes as well. That will be happening this year too.
Yes, and speaking of YouTube, we do have a few original elements coming out. We have a docu-series coming out entitled Social Recovery. It's about reshaping the perspectives that influence our conditioned minds. We have a workplace comedy that'll be coming out soon. We have a few different shorts and a few different docu-series, How Not to Make a Movie. We have the best way, we're going to be always trying to reinvent ourselves and reinvent projects. So I would definitely say our YouTube channel is a good way to stay connected with us independently outside of.
And this is I Am Cinema.
Yes.
Yes. So for anybody who wants to subscribe to the channel, Or are you? What all platforms are you on?
As it pertains to platforms, we can be found on social media via Facebook, via TikTok, via Instagram. That's about it. We're not really heavy on Twitter.
Got you. And you as well, Shauna? Do you have? I'm assuming you're both under I Am Cinema.
Under
so,
I Am Cinema,
yeah.
yeah. So I Am Cinema, of course, we have our individual social media platforms, but yes, I Am Cinema is probably the best place to follow us.
Got you. Did you want to plug any of yours?
So I'm not on social media. I have been on social media
Yeah.
for some time now, but I'm getting back on. I don't know when, but sometime this year. I may be on by the time this interview is up. So if you do want to follow me, it's at Dysmarie. So that's at DICEMARIEE. And then I have a website. It's CandaceMSingleton.com.
And we'll have that on the screen for you guys. You guys will probably see it popping up on the screen right now for everyone's platforms, handles, and all of those great things as well. Where can we watch this movie? Where can the audience find this movie at?
So right now, as of January 2024, you can find it on Apple TV. You can find it on Amazon Prime. You can find it on Vudu, Comcast, Spectrum, Xfinity, Cox.
The Cox, yeah.
And it'll be on Tubi soon. We don't have a specific day on which it's going to drop on Tubi yet. However, that's pretty much our range.
Stay tuned.
We'll try to have all those links. I know we'll have all those links. You'll send me those links, and we'll put it up on there for you guys to check those out.
And
Go ahead.
one more thing I just want to add, that we also have amazing writers' workshops, too. Stay connected with us. We do different workshops. There may be one that's more so focused on the production side or producing, but also the writers' workshops for anyone who is serious about that, please definitely stay tuned.
Awesome. Any final words, ladies?
Not at this time. Just thank you. Thank you for taking the time to highlight Clinic, to have this conversation with us, and to take interest in our movement and what we're doing.
For sure. It's definitely been a pleasure.
Yes. No, just gratitude. Appreciate your time and making this happen, and looking forward to what's to come. You know.
Appreciate you guys for having me. So there you have it, guys. We have these lovely, talented ladies here, and you guys can read everything in the description of this video, where you can check out the movie Clinic, as well as their social media handles. And with that being said, much blessings and abundance. Stick around for the next video that's going to pop up on the screen below, and that's where I'm going to see you guys at. It's your favorite everything. This is Wisdom. Peace.